listen to the customer, prototype, try something quick, make changes iteratively, right?
Just a quick reminder for you to like, subscribe, and rate this podcast so we can get your feedback and know how to make it better.
Hey, it's Ari. Welcome to another episode of the Made in America podcast. Today, I'm with Sam Simmons, president of OEM Controls. Sam, thanks so much for coming on today.
All right, thanks for having me on. This is awesome.
Yeah, no, my pleasure, Sam. It's the Made in America podcast, though, so we start off with the same two questions.
Yep.
What do you make, and why do you make it?
We design and manufacture joysticks, electronics for off-highway equipment.
Not for Xbox?
No.
No, all right.
No. Much more rugged, much more custom.
Nice, nice.
And not as high volume.
Not as high,
Right.
I bet. And why do you guys do it?
We partner with our customers. They need capabilities, whether it's a different handle shape, a rugged gate, or capability to make their machine more effective, more user friendly for the end user, a better experience for the end user. So we do that with joysticks, and we do that with electronics and different data sensors. So we're experts in off-highway equipment.
Sam, listen, I think there's a lot of really interesting stuff to talk about here. And I know you guys are big into IoT, which is like kind of near and dear to my heart from like the IT side. And I'm really excited to talk about it. I think people would be shocked if they found out how much like IoT is out there and where it's going. And I know you guys have kind of made a lot of forays into that. So I definitely want to get like deep into that.
Right.
Hopefully I'll have some opportunity to talk about sort of your passion for Agile and Lean and what you guys are doing to help kind of run the business. I know you guys are an EOS shop. Maybe we'll get some time to talk about that.
Right.
But I just do want to start sort of from the beginning. If maybe you could talk about sort of, let's like the OEM Controls origin story,
Yep.
Kind of walk us back to the beginning and sort of how you got involved and found your passion in the business.
Great, thank you. So my father started the business. He went to Germany, went to Europe to find a company he could represent here in the U.S. He found
Really? He just decided it's time to do something I want to represent in German?
He worked for a panel assembly company in Waterbury for a couple years, and he was always an entrepreneur. So he knew the market. So he went to Germany and found two companies, and it started with rotary switches and joysticks. And through the years, we'd have different uncles join the company, and one uncle was heavily into electronics, so he brought in the electronic part of the products. So from that, through the 70s, it was a work platform market. So this is a
work
aerial
platform?
lift work platform is scissor lifts and booms. So that's still our biggest market today. It was the first market that really went to electro hydraulics. So that was our focus.
Electro
Hydraulics. So if you know hydraulics,
yeah, sure, yep.
lifts everything.
Yep.
Well, instead of all the hoses of hydraulic fluid going up and down, it's electronics talking to the valve saying, move it up, move it down.
Got it.
That is now,
Which is like the only way I've ever known it to work, basically, I think. Okay, got it.
But it's still been evolving for the past 20 years.
Wow.
40 years, actually. So through the 90s, we started adding microprocessor systems, fiber optic systems, and newer technology. And then 2000s just kept expanding that. 2000s, we got more into CAN. Are you familiar with CAN, J1939, or CAN Open?
No.
So our understanding of the market and the machines. So your car right now is fly-by-wire, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's ODB2, right? That's the language for cars and vehicles on road. Off-road is J1939. So engines speak the language, control area network language called J1939, which is a standard, or CAN Open, another standard from Europe.
Got it.
So we understand that, and we partner with our customers. They know how to make big metal machines, welding, right? Put it all together. The electronics part, they're not so familiar with. So we become their partner because we have electronic engineers, mechanical, system, embedded software engineers, technicians to make the product for them. And it's all custom.
Got it.
It's all custom.
So like who's the customer? Are you serving the people, the users of these like lifts and whatnot, or do you serve the manufacturers of the lift and kind of get that?
The company is OEM Controls,
Right.
which OEM stands for Original Equipment Manufacturer, right?
Yeah.
So we sell to OEMs.
Got
The
it.
main business has always been selling to OEMs. So OEMs in the work platform market, still our biggest market. United Rentals is the end user. Or
Right. One
People
of the
are,
end users,
right?
sure, yeah.
But United Rentals, Sunbelt, the big rental companies buy from our OEMs, and that's the scissor lifts and the booms, right? But then utility and telecom is another huge market for us.
Yep.
And the bucket trucks, we've got the joysticks and electronics to make them go up and down and move.
So as you think about kind of being in that market, you talked about sort of the rugged joysticks. It sounds to me like what you really need to be focused on is what does the end user want to get from the products that you guys make? But you sort of find yourselves in the position of you sell to the people that sell to the end user.
Right.
So how do you kind of get the connection with the customer to make sure that the products that you're producing is what the end customer wants? Because I assume that the OEMs are buying what they think the customer is going to want. So you kind of have like two customers really.
Yes, that's right. Our customers are experts in their machines,
Mm-hmm.
and they're experts in their application. So we take what they're looking for and translate it into electronics or CAN or the different inputs and outputs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more supporting them and getting them a prototype as quickly as possible. We've got application engineers that work directly with their customer, the engineering department mostly,
Mm-hmm.
and then we've got our engineers also talk directly with our customers. So it's a partnership that way.
And so do you guys have like a lot of like a sort of, I know on the website you guys sort of have like a menu of like joysticks
Yes.
and whatnot. So you've got sort of a set of stuff people can get,
Yes.
but then you're also kind of continually working with your customers to design new products.
Absolutely. We have over 19,000 end part numbers.
Holy moly.
We sell 3,000 different part numbers each year. Doing the 80-20 rule is 200 different part numbers, right? So it's a lot of niche. It's a small volume, high custom.
Really?
So yeah, and
you kind of wouldn't. I honestly I wouldn't have thought about that. Like I guess I would have sort of assumed you go to Sunbelt or a bucket truck and they all basically sort of have like the same joystick.
No, they may go up and down and right and back and forth, but no, they have different push buttons, different ramping and feel to it. So it's every engineer has their own perspective, and every customer has their relationship with their customer and understanding of their market. So we'll do whatever they want.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And is that how you guys sort of differentiate yourself in the market?
Yeah. So we're a smaller company. We don't go after the major OEMs because they already have electronic engineering capability, right? There's a tier below that they've either outsourced their electronic engineers or they're just more into their capabilities of making engines on bodies and lifting buckets. So that's been our focus, and from that we come up with electronic modules. We understand data modules, angle sensors, accelerometers, pressure sensors, all that to give more data to the customer in the machine. And then with the IoT world, we took our capability of rugged electronics as well as CAN and understanding CAN in that. See, one thing is have a Bluetooth tag, but you got to get it to the cloud. And the method to get it to the cloud for off highway, it's like in an office, IoT is great because you got Wi-Fi everywhere.
Yeah. Hold on. Well, let's back it up for people that maybe don't fully appreciate.
Sorry.
Let's get into it.
Got too excited there.
No, I know you're a big fan of IoT, so let's get in it. So IoT is Internet of Things, right? Which is essentially, well, why don't you explain, let's go to the basics. Like, what is IoT? Let's start with that.
Right. So from my perspective, what I've learned, IoT essentially is a data personality for inanimate objects, right? So our focus is off-highway IoT. We're talking attachments, tools, light towers, smaller generators, right? Smaller assets, equipment, and all the supporting tools is what we put Bluetooth on.
Right.
That gives that device a life, a data personality, which says, I'm here, A. Next is, I'm being used. That's like the the base level of IoT
Yeah, or I
for
need to
off highway
or I need to send this
construction.
information. Yeah, exactly. Listen, I mean, to your point, right? It's taking any sort of like standard piece of equipment. It could be any number of things, and connecting it and be able to talk to it and get data from it.
Right.
And I think the point you were trying to make before is like if you have, let's say your thermostat on your wall, getting that on Wi-Fi, super easy because it's in your office. Your office will generally have Wi-Fi. You can sort of get it connected in your house or in your office. Any number of different things.
The cameras
can get there.
Being able to access cameras on your phone.
Yeah, another example.
Open your garage doors, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like so
On
many
your
different
phone,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Your refrigerator, all different stuff can be online now. But you're saying you guys wanted to take that to the side of the highway, which is super complicated, I would imagine.
Well, yeah. So our focus has always been off highway. We support the OEMs for the off highway market, and with our capability and that understanding for the past 20 years, we've been making IoT products, simple tags and trackers, but we've got more elaborate items for fuel tracking, for lube truck, dispensing activity. Where's that fuel going? Which piece of equipment? The challenge is, how do you get that back to the cloud?
Yeah.
So we've been working hard on that capability. And that is, of course, a cellular connection, easy, but nobody wants to pay cellular for every IoT device.
Right.
So now it's coming up with a off-highway network, whether it's through a Wi-Fi router, a mobile app, coming up with an app that can capture all the devices in the area, or it's coming up with a CAN device that goes on the line of the construction equipment. So we put a little reader, a listener on there, and it converts that Bluetooth message into a CAN message.
So let's just start, like, what got you thinking about IoT in the first place? Like, where did this sort of pop up as something that was interesting or would be useful to your customer?
Well, I've always been into technology. After I graduated from Gettysburg, I came into the company, and we were a small company at that point, about 10 million, 5 million. No structure. My father's an entrepreneur, pure entrepreneur, and just surrounded himself with good people, family members and good people. And there was a lot of paper-based systems and
you took one look around and were like, Dad, how are we getting anywhere with all this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So I came in, and IT was the first area for me. So I had a team implement our ERP, enterprise resource planning module that runs our business, right?
Yep.
Materials, sales order entry, accounting, purchasing, and so that was the first, getting into IT and setting that up, and then Microsoft getting that involved into the company, and also I got into the HR systems and quality and continuous improvement through the years. That's where the operations side came in, right? So I was always into technology, and I love Agile. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
Agile, lean, and process improvement, but and strategy. I love that too.
Yeah.
But my father came up with the idea actually mid 2000 for a device to help monitor the health of a work platform. So at the time,
when you need to monitor the health of a work platform, what are some of the things you're thinking about that you want to be able to track? Like, what's important to the?
Essentially, it was an hour meter. So what off-hire equipment runs based on hours.
Mm-hmm.
So utilization and preventive maintenance is based on hours.
Got it.
Right. So at the time I had a Palm Pilot, and I loved the Palm Pilot, and the Palm Pilot has infrared. So I was like, let's put infrared on this little box, plug it into the ignition, and now you got an hour meter. And he's like, yeah, let's do it. So that started the effort into IoT.
Uh-huh.
Infrared is only a couple inches away. So
yeah.
we got a few
line of sight, a couple inches away, a little like black and white screen. Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a few customers, but not enough for a business. So over the years, it evolved into our own RFID. With our electronic engineers, we could find an RFID module, put it on, and now we've got a product. Got more customers, but not enough to
get it going.
Be good. So then Bluetooth has evolved to the point where it's everywhere. And it's a great technology for capturing data. So our focus for the past 5 years is changing all our products, whether hour meter tags, tire pressure tags, temperature tags, changing them over to Bluetooth.
So do you guys have all that in the field, like pressure, temperature, all that stuff? Is that
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Small applications.
Sure,
right?
sure.
And, fuel has been a great market for us. Fuel and lube trucks. It's not covered by any technology, and it's just old technology of just visual meters. So we're converting that over into IoT based Bluetooth systems and CAN based systems. And we've got different data loggers that, one for a bucket truck that notifies the operator if they didn't clip in, right?
Oh.
Seatbelt for a bucket truck operator.
Sure.
A lot of times they forget. They get too busy and they forget. And so there are many deaths each year of people getting launched.
Oof.
Whether it's work platform or telecom or utility bucket trucks, we've developed that technology with the hardware, mechanical hardware of clipping in a trigger that goes into a control box, and then it connects to the up switch. And if they're not in, an alarm goes off. Well, at the same time, it's a data logger and it's a Bluetooth transmitter. So now we're getting data to the cloud on utilization as well as, of course, safety management.
So how do you get it from like a Bluetooth transmission up to the cloud? Like what's the path from like the local Bluetooth to get it into the cloud?
That's the biggest challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And the off-highway market is a little bit behind in general. They've got many telematic devices out there now, but there's still many pieces of equipment that are not covered. So that's still behind, right? In terms of, indoors, on highway, there's coverage, cell coverage and all that. Off highway, you don't have it. So you got to get creative. And we come up with mobile apps or libraries for mobile apps. We've got a CAN reader that goes on a CAN line. So then there's a telematic device on that machine. The machine now can become smart.
Yeah.
It tells the machine what attachment is on that piece of equipment. It can also send the data through the telematic device, right? So there's different ways. We have serial connections that can go into Wi-Fi, hotspots or Wi-Fi receivers.
So I also maybe realized I forgot to ask a question earlier. When you said off highway, I guess I was thinking on the shoulder of the highway. I think you're meaning like way off, like in the woods, construction, like not on the road.
Forestry.
Oh, wow.
Off highway construction, highway construction.
Right. Which is what makes it even that much more difficult to get somewhere because coverage may be spotty and blah, blah, blah. So
That's
you
right.
got all those challenges as well. Wow. So what has been the sort of reception? It looks like you're really trying to pioneer this market, and bring something a little bit different. So I guess two questions are, one, thinking from a business standpoint, you guys are sort of known as the controls company.
Yes.
Has it been difficult to get people to see this as a logical offshoot from the controls?
The controls market or the OEMs are now understanding how valuable the Bluetooth tags can be. And the fact that we understand CAN and can customize the message to meet their needs is been the eye opener. That's been the game changer. We have several customers coming to us to say, all right, we've got these attachments or we've got these modules outside the CAN. We want to put it on the CAN line. So with that with our electronic capability and understanding of CAN, that's been an awesome reception. So it gets us talking to our OEMs more and more.
Mm-hmm.
There are OEMs that make fuel trucks and lube trucks. Our ability to work with OEMs is now coming through with our Bluetooth and our data delivery. We've taken our capability of working with OEMs and have gone off to telematic companies. Telematics is the cellular connection on machines. So if you've got an ODB2 cellular device in your car, well, when your son starts driving, you can put that in, you know where he's going to be, right? Go to Verizon, they got the hum or something like that. They put that in there. That's telematics.
It's called an ODB2 device. And
Yes.
you add it to your car.
You put it in the plug in the car, and now it can stream the health of the car.
Yeah, location, the
of
speed.
the vehicle, the speed.
That's the thing you get. It's like tell you if the car goes over a certain speed or whatever.
There's many points of data. So for construction companies and off-highway companies, they use telematics cellular connection to pull the data off the machine, right? So that's where we are now. That's prime time. Telematics is where it is. IoT is still coming. So we partner with telematics company to expand their data ecosystem.
So you essentially, they've got if I like simplify this down to brass tacks here, they've essentially got the pipe, they've got the communication level. If you can just communicate with that, you essentially just piggyback on the communication that they're already doing.
That's right.
To just get your information on the back.
A lot of times they've got Bluetooth, right? They've got Bluetooth on the telematics, but they don't have the engineering bandwidth to have it listen to other Bluetooth devices. fine. We can help you with that, or we can add a serial port
Right. And just
device,
connect it
serial
in, like,
reader that
wired.
pulls it in and stream it up that way. It can be a CAN device. It can be a USB.
So you mean you're really moving like into like IT world now, right? Because now once you start streaming that data, you got to have some type of a cloud where you're storing the data that someone then can go look at. Are you using somebody else's cloud?
We want to partner with software companies. Yeah, we learn the hardware. We're still learning. We're not good at software. We're good at
Right.
firmware. We're
Right,
good
right.
at hardware, but not software. Yeah.
Oh, just like you said about your customers, right? Like focus on, they know what they do and they know what they got to partner
Yeah.
with. So you're kind of in the other end of it where you got to get that data and then pass it to someone
Yeah.
else. to get
So
your
we're
customers to
partnering
see
with
it.
telematic companies and software companies to get them more data set to help them provide more value to their customers
Got it.
and more functionality.
So once again, you're sort of in the middle of the supply chain, right? Like the telematics company is the one
Yes.
that's dealing with the actual end customer.
Yes.
And you're basically saying to them, hey, FYI, partner with us. Now, when you go to the end customer, not only can you show them A and B, but we can give you C, D, E, and F to add to your whatever
Absolutely.
dashboard or
Absolutely.
whatever it is.
Yes. And that's, there's a lot of effort and
Yeah.
teach them.
Yeah.
But we're getting more and more customers that are leaning on us for that capability.
So in like a real world example, I mean, I know you said sort of field trucks, but like in a real world example, like what kind of a company, either, and you can make up a customer if you don't want to give me like a real one, but like what company would I know that uses this, and like what's like a real world application for some of this stuff?
So there's major construction companies that build pipelines,
Right.
or solar fields, right? The wind farms, right? So what they do is they've got 1,000 people on this project for 5 years, and they've got 5 fuel trucks, 10 fuel stations, and 500 pieces of equipment. Our technology goes on the 500 pieces of equipment and the fuel trucks, and all together they capture the data and send it up to cloud through the fuel trucks. The fuel trucks and the lube trucks become that gateway.
And but what information do they want to know from a fuel truck that's just so critical to the execution of their work?
So fuel is a major cost
Sure.
for them. That's the first thing. They can get tax rebates as well, right? Off highway diesel versus on road diesel. But also it tells them how their equipment is really working. What's the fuel burn? What's their preventive maintenance? Can they change their preventive maintenance? How well is their equipment being used? That's the fuel side and the lube side. And then the hours tell them that as well.
Because you're collecting, each of the pieces of equipment has like the hours tracked, and when one of the fuel trucks
Right.
goes by, it'll collect that information.
That's right.
And upload that. So it's not that you're just seeing like the levels of fuel. You're actually going to see all the 500 pieces of equipment. You'll be able to see hours in use.
That's right.
Maintenance applied or not applied. So you can
Right.
sort of like a dashboard to really manage it all from one spot.
Right.
As opposed to like what in the old days, you just like someone would have to either write it on a piece of paper or guess or
They
whatever.
still do it. That's still the major way of doing it.
Oh, really?
Paper, yes. Except for the ones that have telematics on it, but they can't cover everything with telematics. So that's one application, right? So then we start talking about the OEMs, right? With the OEMs, now we can make their machines smarter because they know what attachment is on that piece of equipment. And okay, if that attachment is on there, then they can make the machine work more effectively. If it's working too hard, you're going to beat the attachment up. If it's not working hard enough, the user's a bad experience. This is a junk piece of equipment, right? That's just one example. It's taking different sensors, level sensors off pumps and generators, and sending that to the cloud. So that's another application. And then the fasten tracker, the safety is a huge market for us right now with telecom bucket trucks and work platform. And that's notifying the operator to clip in, but it also notifies safety and operations. Are they following procedures? And then how often are they using the bucket and what's their productivity?
So it's really clear, Sam, that you guys have like leveraged a lot of innovation and engineering to kind of move into a market where you can really add a lot of value to customers. We've talked a lot about it, but the company sort of started as a reseller, right?
Yes.
You're repping products. So what was the pivot? Were you around for the pivot from reseller to engineering firm?
It was more like system integrator. And he had started first, of course, reseller the first couple of years. But no, that's when my father and my brother and I both do the same thing. If somebody says, "Can you do this?" We say yes. We always say yes. We're always yes, right? And then you give them the price and they say no.
Right.
That's fine. So it got to, the first couple of years, he wanted to tweak it. So because he has an engineering mind, he would add wires, he would change the gates, and it would be custom to the customer. Then through the years, we added electronics, and so today we probably have 50 new applications going through a month. 50.
Wow.
That's not new products. That's new applications. That's tweaking a current design, a current electronic board or push button. So that's been our DNA, is rugged custom design
from the beginning.
Yeah,
sort of
and then
leveraging that, because you're not gonna. It's tough to differentiate as just a reseller of somebody else's products.
Yeah, exactly. We want to partner with everybody to make it custom to their machine.
Yeah. And like, so you mentioned earlier before, like how much you're so passionate about sort of like agile and lean.
Yes.
Where did that journey start? Cause I know there's like, so you got a product you got to sell, then you guys have gone into sort of engineering and customizing it. And I think you feel like you've used like agile and lean to kind of streamline the process to do it more efficiently.
Right.
Like, how did you get into that? And what did you guys do to sort of really go down that?
Yeah. For the first 10 years, 15 years of my career, right into the business after college, it was operations. And, that's where the base level of implementing MRP, implementing an ISO quality management system, working with our quality engineers to set up more structure, right? So it was structure and organization was the first 15 years. And we also implemented lean with Constep, a great
partner.
Consulting company here in Connecticut. So that was my first focus. And also driving up here today, I remember my trips would be every Friday and Saturday. I got my MBA, executive MBA at Farmington from UConn.
Okay.
So it'd be at the UTC campus there. So it reminded me coming up here. But that was awesome. That's where I started to learn and love, strategy, organization,
what
structure.
What made you decide to go get an MBA?
Well, because I went into business right after college, and I just knew I didn't know that much, and we needed to get to be bigger.
More.
My father's an entrepreneur, but we needed better structure, and I had no clue. So I was just hungry and loved to learn something new to bring it into the company. And I was lucky I could bring it in immediately.
Yeah. You put it right to work.
Yes.
When you think about sort of like the value of that MBA, looking back on it now, so how long since you finished that program?
That was 95.
Wow. So it's like almost 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost 30 years ago. Yeah. When you think about what the value you got from that investment, just curious, like when you think back, what are some of the changes that you remember making from the MBA program that you implemented in the business?
The MBA really pushed us into getting the ISO quality management system.
The value of quality management.
Started implementing statistical process controls, just getting numbers and getting run charts on the floor and really understanding what quality is and the measures there. And then it really pushed me into lean and understanding lean manufacturing. Back then, I also started getting into strategic planning. So there was a great book called Simplified Strategic Management for Small to Mid-Sized Companies. Mm-hmm. And I would go to that seminar, but UConn got me into that and thinking about that. And I still have buddies today, our buddy at UVA that we talk about, Agile Strategic Management. We're doing that now.
Yeah.
It's
what is
great
it?
Conversations.
What Agile Strategic Management?
So it's taking Agile. So we've implemented Agile, or we're implementing it still. We're not 100%, but we're about 80%. We've implemented Agile. So Agile strategic management is taking that same principles of, prototype, listen to the customer, prototype, try something quick, make changes iteratively, right? Trying to do that same thing for strategy. We've been doing EOS for about 5 years, but I wanted to make it so it's like every quarter we're talking about 3 years out, the year, how are we doing on the year with the plan? This quarter, what are we gonna modify to meet the 1 year plan and the 3 year picture? So what Agile strategic management is trying to take all those tools and make it more iterative. So that's been fun, but it's still
Some big work. Yeah. So as you think about sort of leveraging that agile and thinking to the future, like what do you see as the next iteration of OEM controls? What do you see as the future of what you're trying to bring to market and value to customers?
So it's definitely getting more data and work with customers to get the data into their machines to make the machines smarter. But it's still the base of joysticks and bringing more industries up to speed with electrohydraulics and CAN J1939, CAN open, getting more machines in the industry because we're dealing with a lot of small OEMs, and they're going from hydraulics into, is it electrohydraulics or is it going to be CAN? And we help them electronically, mechanically, system-wise, embedded engineering-wise. But the next level also is with Agile is customer collaboration, right? So big thing I've been trying to implement and learn about now is customer collaboration. There's a big term now called customer experience. Have you heard of that?
No. Well, I mean, customer experience, sure, but yeah.
But there are like directors of customer experience.
Yeah, sure.
VPs of customer experience, right? So I'm tweaking a little bit for customer collaboration, but essentially, so we know electronics and we do a great job. And it's been, here you go, Mr. Customer, there you go. Good luck. Tell us if it works. 2 years later, it doesn't work. What's wrong with you? Right.
Okay.
So what we're teaching them is like, hey, we're experts on electronics and joysticks, but you're the expert on the equipment.
Right.
How do we know how it's going to work? Did you tell us perfectly the requirements and how the machine works? No, we understand. But you need to start testing it. We'll help you with the test plan. And by the way, let's meet every couple weeks and we'll talk about how's the test plan going? What's the feedback from the customer? Is it holding up? I mean, we get beat up all the time and saying your joystick doesn't work. Well, how many hours has it been tested? Well, we sent it down to Florida, one device in Florida where they use it 3 hours a week. The next month we sent 20 to California and Chicago, and they're getting the crap beat out of it.
Right.
Well, why is that? Well, they're using it 24 hours a day.
Right. So it's a different application.
Right. And it's getting beat up. Well, we can make it stronger. We got a better base. We can get stronger springs.
Sort of bringing the customer into the agile loop almost.
It is. And, the technology is helping that. MS Teams helps with that, right? Sharing of documents, the face-to-face, just a PowerPoint storyboard is great. Take a PowerPoint, take pictures of the machine, take a picture of the joystick, and like, oh, I wish it would go this way instead of this way. It's causing, all right, we can switch it. No problem.
Right.
Just got to tell us. Right.
That's great. So trying to bring that thing together and leveraging that.
Yes.
Really bring the customer into the design loop.
Yeah.
You think that make a big difference?
Yeah. I mean, it's great now, COVID really pushed the web meetings and all that. And everybody's like, we don't have to travel anymore. No, people like when you visit and you got to mix it in.
Right.
So the collaboration effort that my brother and I and my sales team is doing is we're going out and visiting everybody. Let's visit them at least once a year. But then we have follow-up web meetings on a cadence, or they come to us. We've had a lot of people come to us because we're way behind on products and projects. And they're like, we're going to help you fix your process. And then they come in and they see all our capabilities of electronic, 2 surface mount equipment, mechanical assembly, metal fab, harness assembly, system assembly, CNC, 5-axis CNC. And they're like, and then they see all 30 of our engineers.
And they're like, how can I get some of that?
Okay, you guys aren't so slow and backwards ass.
Oh, that's great. Well, it sounds like there's a lot ahead, Sam. And I think clearly you guys are embracing the heritage that you guys have had and the innovation and the drive to succeed. Yeah. And then pushing it into the new age and moving to the cloud. So it just seems really cool. And there's a lot of bright stuff ahead.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I really appreciate it, man. It's really been great talking to you.
All right, it's great talking to you.
And hearing the story, I just want to ask you a few kind of like wrap-up questions, man. First question, do you have a favorite business book by any chance?
Well, the base one is on your wall, of course.
Which one's on
Seek First.
Oh, yes.
7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
That's right. Yep.
That's the number one. But Plan to Pivot is a great one right now. I'm reading that one, and that's about agile strategic management.
Plan to Pivot.
Yep.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a great one.
If you had to do something, Sam, other than be the president of OEM Controls, what would you do to spend your time?
It would be something with technology. It would be something with process and continuous improvement.
Continuous improvement. What's something?
And maybe on stage too.
On stage? Yeah. What would you, on stage what?
seminars or whatever.
Oh, I got you. All right. Not a theater
No,
actor.
no.
What's something you learned early in your life or early in your career that you think's helped propel you to all the success that you've had?
I'd say, begin with the end in mind, having a vision, and be proactive is another one, right? You can just try to figure it out. Never quit. There's always an alternative.
Yeah, keep it going. What's something that you learned later in life or later in your career that if you went back and told young Sam that you think it'd really have a positive impact on his life?
It would be keep leading by example. Do more of that.
Do more leading by example.
Yeah.
Dude, I love it. Sam, thanks so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's awesome.
Made in America with Ari Santiago is brought to you by Compass MSP.
Thanks for listening and spending some time with me today. My goal is to help build a strong manufacturing community, and it would be impossible to do without all of you.